if you haven't seen my face before, I'm Lori, and I am a nationally certified personal trainer and health coach with the American Council on Exercise. Some of you probably have seen me at the conferences, or I've done a couple of these before. So welcome. And today we're going to be talking about fatigue. And I know so many of you struggle with that, whether it's from the cancer itself, from the chemo, the radiation. Immunotherapy drugs can cause tremendous amounts of fatigue, as can targeted therapies. And although these are amazing drugs, this is a side effect. Fatigue is a side effect of these. So this is something that you need to have on your radar all the time. And I bet you that most of us are over 50. And if you're getting older, if you're over 50, fatigue is just going to be a natural part of aging. Now, fatigue is something that is not usually from one thing, though. You can't just say it's from cancer or it's from my treatment or I'm getting older. Usually it's a combination of things. So you might need to take some integrated steps to combat your fatigue and not just think it's due to my cancer or it's due to my chemo. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 4 things today, 4 integrated things that you can do to help you battle with fatigue. And the first one I want to talk to you about is palliative care. I'm not a doctor. This is outside of my scope of practice, which is why you need to see a palliative care doctor. This is not hospice. Some people get these confused with hospice. This kind of doctor is also not a lung cancer doctor or cancer doctor at all. They're there to help you deal with the side effects of your disease. They're there to help you live longer and live better. And studies show that those that get into palliative care early, they live longer and they live better. So how can your doctor help you battle your fatigue? One of the things that I've seen in real life is a doctor prescribing drugs, a drug that will help you with fatigue. Usually people with ADHD take like Ritalin or one of these uppers, if you want to call them that. You don't need to worry about getting hooked on them or addicted to them. If you have a chance to come off, if you're done with chemo and your doctor doesn't think you need them anymore, they will get you down, they will bring you down. And so you really won't deal with a lot of side effects with that. Not everyone is a candidate for medication. One of my sister tried it. She has stage 4 lung cancer. It didn't work for her. It can cause heart palpitations. It can cause nausea, and it can cause a decrease in appetite. So if you're already struggling with keeping weight on, this might not be a drug for you. So that's just one thing that your doctor can do. What's the other things that they can do? They can help you monitor your vitamin levels. Certain vitamins that are low can cause real problem with fatigue. And here's a few of them that you need to watch out for: your B vitamin levels. And low levels of B vitamin cause fatigue, weight loss, nausea, and sore mouth, which kind of sounds like a side effect of chemotherapy, right? So you may have chemotherapy issues and you may have low vitamin B levels. My sister is on a targeted therapy drug that does not allow her to see the sun really ever. And so she has to watch her vitamin D levels. And some of you may be in the same situation. So vitamin D will be fatigue, hair loss, depression, bone pain, and sleep disturbances. Again, doesn't that sound like a side effect of one of your drugs? But it might be that you're having low vitamin D levels. So I hope that your doctor's checking that. And if not, they can get you a prescription for vitamin D and help you with that and help you. And please don't cowboy this. Please don't go out and just start taking massive amounts of vitamin D. That's if you have too much vitamin D, that causes its own problems. Really get those levels checked. Iron can be a problem. If you have low iron, of course, we know that causes fatigue and shortness of breath. Doesn't that sound like having lung cancer? It could be that you're low on iron. That is another level that they can keep checking for you. Other vitamin deficiencies could be vitamin C, a deficiency, and that can make you tired, along with magnesium and potassium. We're going to talk more about why you really need to be careful with supplements a little bit later on. That's in another subject. But these are things that your doctor can help you with. Your cancer doctor might know everything there is to know about treating your cancer, but chances are they're not going to be on top of your vitamin D levels or help you with getting a drug to help you with fatigue. That's not their job, and it's not their specialty. It's not what they know about. This is why you need another team member, that this is what they do for everyone. That's why you need this. The other thing that they can check, especially if you're over 50, is your hormone levels. Especially if you're a male and you have low T levels, you will need to get that checked. Now, whether your doctor will prescribe hormone replacement therapy for you, I don't know. That's between you and your doctor, and if it's safe for you to do. So this is the things that they can keep on top of. All of this is outside of my scope of practice, but if you don't have a palliative care doctor, I really want, and you're dealing with, fatigue or not, whatever, I want you to check in with somebody and get that. Okay, so let's move into something that is more my wheelhouse, and that would be lifestyle adjustments. So this is our second thing that we can do, is look at lifestyle adjustments. And the biggest one is working with our circadian rhythm. What is that? That is our body's natural 24-hour clock that our body runs on. And that generally means sleeping and resting when it's dark and being awake when it's light. So our circadian rhythm also regulates our digestion, it regulates our temperature and our hormone releases. Just so important, right? So how does this all work? You have a part of your brain called the hypothalamus, and this is our master clock. This is what our body uses to keep us either awake or asleep. And you need to keep that functioning correctly. And light is the primary driver of this. This is the part of the brain that uses light and darkness primarily, not completely, but primarily to run this 24-hour clock that will either keep you alert, keep you tired. So here's what happens is when you are getting massive amounts of bright light into your retina have cells, and these cells tell the hypothalamus what's going on. And so then the brain will activate, it will go ahead and activate all the hormones that you need to stay awake if it senses light. And if it senses darkness, then it will make you tired and sleepy. And so this is why when you hear about getting sunshine every day or turning your lights down at night, this is why, because you're telling your brain to either prepare you for the day or wind you down for sleep. Now, we're going to talk a little later about why in our modern world that's so messed up and why that's upside down. But there's other things that affect your circadian rhythm. And we'll just talk about these briefly. Food intake. How many of you have eaten a big meal or went to bed starving and you didn't sleep very well? If you eat a huge meal right before you go to sleep, your body is thinking it's party time. It's time to digest. Ooh, I've got a lot of food. And it makes it difficult to sleep. Same thing if you're starving. If you go to bed starving, your body thinks it's time to forage for food. So the best thing that you can do is go to bed on a stomach that's not starving, but that's not just completely stuffed with food. So that will be one thing that you can do to help you sleep better and reduce your fatigue. Stress levels. We're all under a lot of stress, especially when you're dealing with a chronic disease like cancer. And so it's so important for you to find ways to deal with the stress. You can't get rid of it. You're not going to be able to get rid of your cancer or the stress that goes with it, but you can find ways to deal with that stress, whether that be talking to a therapist, doing art therapy, doing yoga, exercising. So it's so important for you to deal with that stress so it doesn't become chronic and just mess up your circadian rhythm. Physical activity, exercise is so important. Exercise will help regulate it, especially if you exercise earlier in the day. One thing that you don't want to do is do some kind of heavy exercise at night because that will ramp you up. Your body, again, thinks it's party time. It's time to exercise. Taking a little walk is fine, but intense exercise should be saved for earlier in the day, maybe let's say before dinner time. Your social environment. Have you ever gone to a party? You're having a great time, bright lights, maybe you're having a glass of wine, chatting with your friends, and then you get home and you have a hard time going to sleep. Again, not saying that you shouldn't have social time. I'm not going to say that all because that's so important, especially people that are dealing with a chronic disease. Just having that connection is so important. But if you do that too often, if you have party time every night, you're going to feel so fatigued the next day because your body is not getting the sleep that it needs because it's too ramped up. So try and save most of your socializing for the day and just keep the rare occasion of having, being at large parties at night. Temperature. Your temperature, you would not think that your air temperature would be that important, right? Other than feeling comfortable. You want to feel nice and comfortable. So in the summertime, we'll throw in the air conditioning, and in the winter, we have the heat. But it's a little deeper than that. Your body, your hypothalamus, responds best to sleeping in cool temperatures, which is why you should, in the wintertime, turn your heat down before you go to sleep. And in the summertime, turn the air conditioning down, maybe a couple of notches below what you would feel comfortable with during the day. And then when you get up, make sure your body naturally will bring those temperatures up, and your body wants to feel a little more warm during the day. Makes sense, right? Before we had heat and air conditioning, we would sleep in caves or houses that weren't heated or cooled. And so this is how our bodies work. So just keep that in mind about the temperature. One thing that we can't control, and this applies to me because I'm well over 50, is that when you get older, and again, most of us are older, you don't produce the hormones that you need to sleep as well. Melatonin levels just naturally go down. I don't know why. It's like we become babies again, where we don't have the right kind of circadian rhythm. We're up at night and sleeping during the day. I noticed, like this morning, I got up at 4 a.m. I don't know. I slept fine, but I got up at 4 a.m, and I'm finding the older I get, the earlier I'm getting up. And so I often feel tired during the day. I feel, exhausted. So whether or not you want to take melatonin, that's up to you and your doctor. You can supplement with that, but that's something that you really want to discuss with your doctor, whether that's safe for you. It has also has other effects in the body besides just making you sleepy. So it has an antioxidant capacity to it, which isn't always good for people that have cancer. And we'll talk a little more about that later on. So adults, children, we're just going to throw that out the window. You know how babies are. But adults, if you have a reasonably healthy schedule where you're going to bed before midnight, where you're getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night, I know if you're like me, you struggle to do that, but you got to try. You're doing some exercise, you're avoiding caffeine and alcohol and partying around right before you go to bed. If you have all of those things right most of the time, your circadian rhythm will just naturally fall into that 24-hour cycle, and you'll sleep better during the night, and you'll feel more alive, more vibrant during the day. Now, some of you are going to say, but I get so tired after lunch, like around 2 o'clock, I just want to go to sleep. I do too. And that's okay. That's actually natural. And that's why in Latin countries, you've heard of the siesta, right? They take a little siesta in the afternoon because we do naturally get tired. So it's okay. Lay down, close your eyes, do a little meditation, sleep for 10 to 30 minutes, and you're going to notice that even if you sleep for 15 minutes, close your eyes for 15 minutes, you get up and you're going to feel 100 times better. And that's part of your body's circadian rhythm. You're not being lazy. You don't need to fight it. Just roll with it. Just go. I nap almost every day for at least a little bit of time. Don't feel bad about that. Okay, so let me give you a few tips, a few things that you can do that will help you out with this. The first thing that I want you to do is to get light into your eyes when you wake up, within 1 hour of waking up. Sunlight's the best. If you can get out and it's sunny and you can get about 10 minutes of sunlight into your eyes. Now, you might want to wear sunscreen, but don't wear sunglasses. Don't wear a hat. Get the light into your eyes. Don't stare at the sun. Okay. That will hurt just let the sunlight naturally soak into your eyes. That tells your body, it tells your liver, it tells your brain, it tells your whole body, your digestion to ramp up. Now, if you live in a place where you don't get sunshine right away, or it's the wintertime, get a ring light. I have a ring light right now. I'm using it so that you can see me better. You can buy a ring light. You can buy lamps that mimic the sun, and you will want to use those first thing in the morning to tell your body to wake up. So the next thing, you're not going to like this. Most of you aren't going to like this, and I hate it. I hate this next tip, but that's to avoid caffeine for the first 90 minutes in the morning. And there's a reason behind this, and it's science-based. Caffeine, it binds to the same receptors that your body uses to naturally wake up. When you wake up, when you open your eyes, first thing, your body starts releasing hormones to wake up. If you get up, and I used to do this, I was so guilty of this until about 3 or 4 years ago, I learned this. I would get up, get out to the kitchen, and I would make myself a big cup of coffee. And guess what happens? That caffeine binds to those receptors that your body's trying to use with its own natural hormones to wake up. And as soon as that caffeine wears off, guess what's happened? Those natural hormones have not bind to the receptors, and you're going to crash and feel tired by 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. So you need to delay that. There's nothing inherently wrong with caffeine. What's wrong with it is when it's taking over your body's natural process. So what I do is I usually get up around 5:30. I try to stay in bed till 5:30. And then at 7, I'll have a cup of coffee. And I just feel great. That has helped me tremendously. And also avoid caffeine after like lunchtime or after like 2 in the afternoon. Caffeine, even if you think you're not having very much, it can really affect your sleep. So keep caffeine in that window of 90 minutes after you wake up till about lunchtime. And then really cut down on the caffeine, later on in the day. Now, one thing that you're not going to like if you're a night owl, you're not going to like this. But when you are let's say it's getting dark. Right now where I live, it's getting dark, 7:30-ish. Let the light come down. Turn your lights down. Keep it nice and dark. We're not supposed to be using our phones or our TVs because that's blue light, and that keeps us awake. So that's not realistic. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard, oh, just don't use your phone or your TV, a couple hours before you go to bed, and don't have lights on. So what are we supposed to do? Just sit in the dark? Can't even read a book, right? So what I do on your phone, you can go to your phone's settings and you can put nighttime settings in. So if you're like me and you're not good with technology, have someone help you turn this into, and I think mine does it at maybe 7 o'clock. Mine turns into, so it gets rid of the blue light on your screen. And so it will turn it kind of a yellowish color so it doesn't affect you as much. You can also get the blue blocker glasses that will help you block out the blue light. And as far as your TV, sit further back. At nighttime, sit as far away from your TV as you can, and that will help you not get all that light into your eyes. The other thing is to avoid intense exercise. Not taking a walk. Taking a walk after dinner is amazing, helps with everything. But intense exercise. I used to do an aerobics class when I was much younger, like at 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. And I'd come home and I was too jazzed up. It's too much. It's like what we were talking about, having a party. You're out there doing jazzercise and aerobics or, weightlifting at night. That's telling your body that it's awake time, not winding down time. So exercise early in the day. Okay, third thing we're going to talk about is eating and supplementation. So one thing that will just cause havoc in real life or on the internet is people discussing a diet, right? Oh, paleo's best or keto's best or low fat is best. And I'm not going to go into any of that. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist. So whatever diet you're on, is if whatever works best for you. That's what I think, whatever works best for you. But one thing that every doctor, every dietitian, every nutritionist is going to tell you, and I agree wholeheartedly, is that highly processed foods will make you tired and they're not good for you. And so what's a highly processed food? Most of them are carb based. They come in packages. They come wrapped up. Now, not 100%. There are healthy foods. Obviously, chicken comes wrapped up, right? We're talking about Cheez-Its or white bread, donuts, okay, pies, cookies. These are high glycemic index foods. And what that means, as soon as you eat them, they turn into glucose like that. You will get a high, literally, you will get a burst of energy, and then you will crash as soon as that has turned into sugar and done its thing. You're going to crash. So what do you need to do? You need to eat low glycemic carbohydrates if you're going to eat them. That would be certain fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and this will be steady. This is going to be steady energy. You will have a little up, and then it will gradually come down. You're not going to have a crash. You're going to keep that energy level throughout the day. There's nothing wrong at all with having a treat now and again. I'm not going to go to a party and not have a piece of cake if I want it, something like that. That's fine. As you all know, you only live once and you don't need to live miserably. But most of the time, you need to keep those highly processed carbohydrates. If you want to beat fatigue, you need those out of your diet. Now, as far as a ketogenic diet, I know a lot of people that have cancer on ketogenic diet. There is some evidence that it's going to help people that are with chemotherapy, helps the side effects of chemotherapy. It is not a cure. It's not a cure for cancer, but it can help some cancer patients with their, especially weight gain. I know that sounds crazy that we're talking in 2025 about people that have cancer and they have tremendous amount of weight gain, but it does happen. Steroids and different targeted therapies can cause weight gain. So some people have gone to very low carb or a ketogenic diet. Those are actually quite good for sustaining energy after the first couple of weeks. They are absolute hell to adjust to. I've done it myself. But once you get over that hump, they can, because you're using either fats from your diet or your own stored body fat, which is a constant source, of, it's a constant source of energy. So a ketogenic diet, if you want to do that, that's something you should probably talk to a nutritionist, your doctor about if they think that's right for you. But that's one way that you can, beat fatigue is by going on a diet that just, whether you have carbs or don't have carbs, it provides steady, very steady energy and not up and down. As a side note, energy drinks, right? They're the right monster drinks. My kids drink these. It kills me. They're no good for you. Most of them are loaded with caffeine, guarana seed, which is just hidden caffeine. Most of them rely on sugar and caffeine. Don't rely on energy drinks to get you through the day. If you're much better off going to your doctor and asking for a prescription medication than relying on these. So I would say stay away from the energy drinks. Now, let's talk about supplements for a little bit. Well, let me go back. You can download what's called a glycemic index. You just Google glycemic index, and this will help you choose foods that are low. You want to be low on the glycemic index, below 50. They're ranked from 1 to 100, 100 being the worst, 1 being the best. So you want to stay under 50. And that's easy to do. You just Google it, you can print it out, and you can just see which foods give you energy, sustain energy, and which are horrible, which would be 100. 100 is like white sugar. It's just like, will just make you crash and burn, literally crash and burn. Okay, so back to supplements. Let's go to supplements. Let's talk about supplements for a minute. You're going to see all kinds of supplements marketed to you to help you with energy and amongst other things. But you will see this often, provide you energy. Or you might have friends or family that say, take this for energy, do this for energy. And you need to tread really, really carefully here. You need to be very, very careful with this because, like I said, a lot of them just contain massive amounts of caffeine. Some of them promote what's called androgenesis. And that helps your healthy cells with energy. It also feeds the cancer cells. So anytime you see that it helps your cells produce energy, remember your cancer cells are part of you, unfortunately. And anything that provides, a lot of times provides your body with energy will provide the cancer cells with energy. So that's why you need to be so careful. Decades ago, there was some proof, there was some evidence that vitamin E might be really good for lung cancer patients. And so doctors, they're excited about this. Okay, vitamin E might be a great help with cancer patients. And they had to stop this study early because they found out that vitamin E was making the lung cancer grow. Okay, so what sounded good and what there was some evidence for actually turned out to be the exact opposite. So you don't want to get caught up where it sounds good or, there's anecdotal evidence. That's why anecdotal evidence isn't really good evidence. You really need studies, and you need to talk to your pharmacist. A pharmacist can be a great source of information because they hear this stuff all the time. So your doctor and your pharmacist, you need to talk to both of them before you take any supplement, even a multivitamin. People with cancer need to be really careful about taking a multivitamin because there's things in there that can make a cancer grow. You're better off just taking the vitamins that your palliative care doctor thinks that you need, like vitamin D or maybe a vitamin B shot. So please be careful with the supplements. One that you might want to talk to your pharmacist about, and that's been well studied, that has I think it's been around for 40 or 50 years now, is powdered creatine. This is not something that will it's not going to feed your cancer cells. It provides energy to your body's system that will provide energy for you to exercise. Again, this is not something you should take unless you talk to your doctor and your pharmacist, but creatine is one that you might be able to take safely and that you should probably look into. I take it every single day. You take it with water. You just mix it in with your water. Most athletes will take it. It doesn't feed the cancer cells. It just helps your own cells make energy. The healthy cells, it helps them make energy. It doesn't provide energy to them. Do you see the difference between providing energy to a cell or helping the cell make its own energy? There's a big difference there. And that's why you need to talk to your pharmacist and or your doctor or both of them before you do that. So, last thing is exercise. And Katie and I were talking before you guys got on here or before you saw this. We were talking about how exercise is probably the best thing you can do to combat fatigue. And you think, how in the heck, when I feel like I can barely stand up and get off the couch, how is exercise going to help me? And how am I supposed to get one foot in front of the other when I feel like I can't? I just had chemo, just had radiation. I'm so tired. My immunotherapy is making me feel like I want to sleep all day. But exercise is absolutely the best thing you can do to battle fatigue. Again, as long as you don't have like a vitamin deficiency or something like that. So here's what I suggest. If you're not exercising, if you're someone who is doing little to no exercise, the very best way to start is to take 5 to 10 minutes after each meal, because this is easy to remember, right? Eat breakfast, you eat lunch, you eat dinner, and you do 7 to 10 minutes of walking after every meal. And that gets the digestion going. It gets the blood moving. Your blood becomes like sludge. It actually just goes to the bottom of your body, and it's not even getting to your brain. Okay, you need to move to get the circulation going so that you're not having that brain fog. Now, some of you might say, well, I'm chair-bound or it's very hard for me to stand up. That's okay. YouTube is going to be your best friend. What you need to do is get on YouTube and just type in chair-bound exercises or chair exercises. I used to teach chair exercise at the YMCA in Florida a long time ago, and I'm in pretty good shape. And I'm telling you, you can get a great workout in a chair. You don't necessarily have to stand up. If you can stand up, it's better. but you can get an amazing workout, whether it's yoga, whether you're just doing some stretching, or, just using your arms. This will get the blood flowing, especially if you take your arms above your heart. Okay, here's your heart right here. If you get your hands up here above, it forces the heart to start pumping that blood around. So move around. And it doesn't have to be strict exercise. You don't have to say, oh, well, I have got to do a 4 or 5 minute mile. No, just even walking around the block, taking your dog for a walk, or walking with your spouse and talking is perfectly fine. Other things you can do is some breathing exercises. If you're feeling fatigued, move around a little bit and do some deep breathing, but fast, not the kind of breathing that you do with yoga. When you do yoga and you do, that's a calming breath. You want a breath that's going to hype you up a little bit. Now, you don't want to hyperventilate. So please be careful that you don't hyperventilate. But you want to take some breaths in that are a little faster. And actually, if you do this, you'll feel like, oh, it's really clearing my brain. It's getting the blood moving. So a little. Do that a few times, and immediately you're going to find, oh, that just picks me up. Again, stretching. Let's say that it's later on at night and you don't want to go out in the dark and take a walk, and you're just like, oh, it's only 8 o'clock, but I'm so tired. Do some stretching. Sit in your chair, just stretch like this. Stretch over here. Stretch to the front. Stretch to the back. Again, this doesn't have to be some kind of organized exercise. You're just moving your body. Move it this way. Just stretch in every way that you can think of. And again, that forces the body, it forces the heart, it forces the lungs to get things moving. And that's the important part of this. Okay, so it is important to do more intense exercise sometimes, because that is what helps the healthy cells of your lungs and your heart get the oxygen to the working muscles. You can get fatigue if you have what's called a low VO2 max. VO2 max is just the calculation that exercise scientists use to calculate the maximum amount of oxygen that your body can bring to the working muscles when you're exercising. Okay. So the lower that is, that makes sense, right? If you have a low VO2 max and your body, your heart and lungs are not able to get oxygen to that working muscles, you're going to feel fatigue. You're going to feel tired because your body literally can't do it. Lots of people with lung cancer, if you have lung cancer, you're going to have diseased tissue in your lungs. That's what lung cancer is, right? And many people with lung cancer have comorbidities like asthma or COPD or emphysema even, meaning that their cells are even more damaged. But the good news is that you also have healthy cells. If you didn't have any healthy lung cells, you would not be watching this right now. You would not be able to watch this right now. So if you're watching this and you're breathing and you're alive, you have healthy lung tissue. And so next time, we don't have time today to talk about it, because I want to, if there's any questions or if Katie wants to ask me some questions to expound on, I want to leave some time for that. But I don't want to talk and talk and talk for hours. This is there are ways that you can improve your VO2 max, no matter how damaged your lungs are, even if you're on oxygen, even if you need oxygen. There are ways to improve that healthy lung tissue so that you can get in the scientific ways. Okay, it's hard to just do on your own. You really need strategies. This would be more organized exercise than just moving around. Okay, this is going to, when you increase your VO2 max, this is going to help. This is where you're going to move to the next level. you're going to move to that next level of fitness. And there's very specific things that you need to do. They're not hard. It's a simple thing to do, right? It's not hard, but you need to have certain benchmarks that you're hitting. And that's what we're going to talk about on April 25th. We're going to go into that so that if you're interested in taking your fitness, if you're interested in breathing better, if you're interested in not feeling tired from just taking a walk and having your legs cramped, how you can take the healthy lung tissue that you have and make it more efficient, helping those lungs get the oxygen to every cell in your body so you feel better. So we're going to talk about that next time. I don't have anything else today, unless Katie has some questions or anyone else has some questions.
Lori, you've covered so much, and about half of the questions you've already answered about, being immobile or being on oxygen. And I know we're going to take some deep dives into those in the next couple of months. For those watching, I really appreciate you talking about evidence-based and what works and what may not work, what may be anecdotal or just somebody's crazy recommendation. But I do want to impress upon those watching the importance of physical activity, no matter what it is. The COPE study, which is coaching patients on evidence-based exercise, explored the effects of physical activity on cancer patients, and they found what we already know is that engaging in regular physical activity improved physical function, reduced fatigue, enhanced overall quality of life. And one thing I want to ask you about is mental health. A lot of folks who've been diagnosed with cancer, lung cancer, living with chronic disease, experience mental health issues, depression, anxiety, those kinds of things. Does physical activity help that in any way?
Absolutely. It's one of the best things that you can do for your mental health. Why? Why would physical activity help that? There's a couple of reasons. Number one, when you're involved in physical activity, it's really difficult to think about anything else, especially if you're doing yoga or you're doing weight training or something that's even more organized. Or even if you're just out walking in nature and you see squirrels and you see a dog in the park chasing a ball. How hard is it? You're not thinking about your own problems. It gets you out of your own head, even if it's for 15 minutes. And boy, can that make a difference. So that's one thing, is just the act of doing something else besides ruminating on your own thoughts. And number two, if you exercise, and I have to look this up, but it might be 12 minutes or 18 minutes or something like that. I don't remember the exact, I'm sorry, I don't know exactly. But when you exercise a certain amount of minutes, it releases chemicals into your brain, the feel good, the endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, all of that gets just like, have you ever kind of been in a bad mood and then a song comes on that you really love and it jazzes you up? So maybe it was from something that you heard in at your prom or whatever. And it just jazzes you up and puts you in a good mood. That's exactly the same chemicals that exercise releases. So it will make you in a better mood. Totally, completely. Yes. Yes.
Fantastic. And one last thought before we go today. And when I heard this, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember who said this, but when I heard this, it kind of changed everything for me. Physical activity, exercise, whatever, your hobby that gets you moving, the sport that you like to do, whatever it is, think about it as self-care. That just was like, oh, yes, I deserve that.
You do deserve that. And, also just be careful of, this is what happens to, I think, a lot of people with cancer, is their spouse or their children will get concerned that maybe you're doing too much. Oh, you need to rest, right? Please use your own. And we're going to talk about this next month, what's called perceived exertion. And so get used to thinking about, until we meet next time, get used to thinking about your exertion on a level of 1 to 10. Okay. 10 is too much. This is not your child or your spouse telling you that. This is you telling you. This is what you need to work out in your own brain. 10 is like running a marathon, and 1 is sitting in your chair doing nothing. What can you do to get to that level 5 where you're right there in the sweet spot? And over the next month, be thinking about that. Okay, if I walk 10 minutes, is that a 5? How am I feeling about that? Please don't let anyone else tell you how you feel about it. Make your own scale, 1 to 10, and try and stay in that 5 level.
That's great advice. I have written down so many notes. This has been such an informative and really exciting. I'm so excited that we're kicking this off and we're all going to learn a whole lot and we're all going to uh, be physically active and do all the great things that we learn from Miss Lori, but not until you talk to your doctors first.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, so important. So important. Also, now walking. No, there's really no doctor that's going to tell you not to walk. Okay. Your doctor is not going to say, please don't walk. They're going to be thrilled if you tell them, I'm walking 10 minutes after every meal. They're going to be so happy for you. But when we talk next month about VO2 max, you will have to get a clearance from your doctor to participate in that kind of training, because you will have to get to the point where you're breathless. And so this is what we're talking about today is just moving around, and your doctor will be thrilled for you. But when we talk next month, it's very, very critical that you talk to your doctor and make sure that you're cleared for more vigorous exercise.
Absolutely.